Today, on This American Dice, we get a sneak peek of the dark place Yugare was searching for. We discover who Aji's mysterious benefactor is. Yugare's wife responds to the dangers to her family by seeking an unexpected ally. And Ishi and Taiyo confront one another about the skeletons they've discovered in each other's closets. Find out how it all happens today on This American Dice.
Sound in the darkness. We hear the crack of a whip and a whimpering of pain. We hear another lash as whoever wields the whip grunts slightly in exertion. The whimpering continues somewhat louder and turns into sobbing. The camera fades in to see the face of a young woman bound to the wall. Her wrists are shackled in rusty cuffs, which bear the countless indentations of fingernails as their wearers have attempted to claw themselves free. The girl, likely a young peasant bought by the Okusan, or perhaps someone captured and forced into this dark role, sheds tears that cut through the dirt on her face. The whip cracks again and we see her naked back, a map of dozens of lash marks. They bleed deep red as she shrieks and then sobs. As the scourge falls on the girl again, the camera slowly turns across the grim, blood-spattered room to a figure in a basket hat. The woman, clad in black robes, flecked in blood, strikes the girl again, letting out a grunt as she puts more muscle behind her strike. She pants and turns to the door of the room. She's waiting for someone. But the door is still. Only the sobbing breaks the room's stillness. After a long beat, the figure returns her gaze to the girl. She raises the scourge and brings it down on her once again. The girl cries out in pain and the scene fades to black. We fade in to see the same black-clad figure kneeling over a young man of no more than 16 or 17. On the wall, the limp body of the scourged girl dangles lifelessly. The woman in black reaches down to the boy's face as his lips quiver in fear. She gently presses her palm against his face and then holds the skin of his eye socket taut as the boy tries in vain to squeeze it shut. He yells in pain and the woman shushes him as she uses a small razor to cut the skin at the top of his eyelid. The boy screams, more in fear than pain, though it hurts a great deal as she continues the incision and eventually removes the eyelid. He pleads with her, "Please, please don't," and she shushes him again, this time placing the severed eyelid on his lips almost as a seal. The woman's fingers press at the bloody eye, squeezing it to test its strength and to get a firm grip on something thought ingraspable. Slowly she draws out the eye. The boy's breath quickened, and he lets out a scream muffled by his closed lips. Lips he dare not open for fear of the eyelid balanced on them falling into his mouth. As the eye is pulled free of the boy's face, we hear a door swing open. A second figure in a basket hat stands behind the woman holding the eye. "Neither of us should be here," says the woman holding the eye in a gravelly, husky voice. "Especially not me, given the hunter." "Tonight is very important," responds the woman who just entered, in a voice that would make the poets of Oda Sanuchi envious. "Tonight you can strike those who wronged you." "Aside from you," says the woman holding the eye, "what does it matter?" She pulls at the eye and we see it is still connected to the pink and red nerves. She tilts the eye like a camera viewing the countless cuts on the boy's abdomen. "My operation's already destroyed. When a house is demolished, it must be rebuilt, lest the inhabitor be a drifter." The standing woman examines the dead girl hanging from the wall. She grabs her face as a disciplinarian would a wayward child, but we can't see any emotion through the basket hat she wears. If you were to rebuild your operation, is it not best you do so on a level playing field? The woman kneeling beside the tortured man grips the eye tight. "Should I bring it?" she asks and tugs lightly at the nerves. The boy lets out what seems a shriek and a sob at once. "No, something smaller will do. Something that won't threaten you. Something that will pull them against one another and not unite them against you." "I can't come back here," the woman says. "I don't care how important you say your orders are. After this place is a trap. I can't come back." "Best not to have the temptation to return," the standing woman says, and then turns around, walks to the door, and calls, "Okusan." The two wait for a moment, with the only sound the sobbing of the man on the floor. When the Okusan, a tired, ghastly pale woman in her mid-50s, enters the room bowing to the two figures in basket hats, the woman kneeling stands. "We're quite through here," says the second woman, who called the Okusan, as she steps on the throat of the boy on the floor, his detached eye splayed across her boot. The patroness says, "Shall I?" The first woman moves with such fury that her basket hat is jostled and the bottom of her face is revealed. The blade that she pulls from her sleeve is sharp, but she is not a warrior, and though her strike is fatal, it is far from clean. She strains to push the blade as deep as she can into her target, and we see her teeth gritted in exertion. The knife plunges into the Okasan's windpipe, and she grabs at the hole in her neck. An attempt at a scream is heard gurgling through the blood in her throat. We briefly see the lower half of her attacker's face, clenched teeth opening briefly to reveal a tongue with the face of a woman on it as she reels from her savage strike. The second woman, still through this violence thus far, moves with the lightning reflexes of a master bushi, and with her bare hand strikes the bleeding woman's neck. The crack is a loud punctuation that ends both the life of the woman and the scene.
A large city surrounded by green walls and acres of poppy fields. A group of monks traveled toward the city, exchanging prayers for whatever alms the poor peasants of the countryside can spare. In the noble quarter, we see a beautiful but imposing palace and a foreign-looking minareted estate. In the temple quarter, we see the glistening white temple of the sun goddess with a 60-foot pole topped by a shimmering golden spear, and the temple of the fortune of wealth with its towering statue of the patriot god of the city. Next door, in the merchant quarter, we see busy streets with noisy merchants selling wares from all over Rokugan and beyond. On the other side of the Bay of Drowned Honor, the fisherman's quarter, dirtier with poorer commoners, meaner gangs, and shabby dwellings amid the docks and warehouses. We pass the leather workers' quarter, the home of the Ada, the Untouchables, and the only building of notice there, the city crematorium. Finally, we arrive at Teardrop Island, the license quarter, with its perpetual twilight of hanging lanterns, fine sake and geisha houses. We follow a man in a basket hat as he's beckoned inside by a beautiful geisha. He enters and removes his hat. We see one of the monks from the beginning. Ryoko Owari, City of Lies.
Just to make things clear based on what you said from your text, what Ishi discovered about Taiyo is that Taiyo's...
His, actual person.
So, what Ishi discovered about Taiyo is that Taiyo already knew that Suki... that the person who is Taiyo right now is actually Suki and had killed Taiyo and taken his place. We said that had happened long in previous games. He found evidence of an incredibly suspicious accident that befell Suki, which would explain why she's suddenly gone. Mm-hmm. So all of that doesn't add up, and all of these people that can tell some kind of story about it are there's a bunch of gaps in what they know is the deal. So Suki died from some kind of accident and was buried, and forget about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I assume the suspicious part was there's a noblewoman. Why wasn't there a notable funeral or documents from that or anything?
Okay.
Whereas I think you had said, or you guys were just I don't know, maybe
she
disappeared or something.
Okay.
That's kind of...
So she didn't just entirely disappear, but her disappearance, I'm doing finger quotes here, Suki's disappearance raises a lot of red flags.
Mm-hmm. It'd be March 28th, very last page of the newspaper. It's also the president's daughter died. Next.
Hi, everyone. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So
Ishi Times.
Yeah, my
favorite paper.
We're going to say that we're starting with kind of the next day.
Sure.
From where we were. I have some different stuff for us to tackle, unless, Brandon, you want Ishi to have that confrontation with Taiyo or have that conversation with Taiyo. We could also come back to it later.
We can come back to
some other stuff
later. That's fun.
Okay. All right. So I've got a message that Aji is going to get, but he's going to get this message, and you'll have to tell me how he gets this message. And I think I have already an idea. Aji's on the line for a lot of money because of Miyamoto Ogai, and also to a lesser degree Aji. All right, but Miyamoto Ogai ran up that huge tab at a lot of sake houses and gambling dens and geisha houses, and while the House of the Morning Sun said, "Don't worry, you can still come here," other places have kind of started to turn you away. Politely always, but it's been implied that like you're not super welcome in those spots. If you've at any point pushed to get in there, most of these places are not going to force you out, but it's been made clear like you already owe us a bunch of money. The next day from our last game, you are welcome in these sake houses.
Interesting.
There is zero problem.
That's weird.
And so, does Aji get this message, or is there a sake house that Aji has been like regularly trying to go to that they've kind of been pushing him away?
Like a message that I was getting pushed away.
The message that you're not welcome.
Oh, now I'm welcome.
So now it's fine. Everything's fine.
What happened?
Yeah.
Let's say, since because I was unwelcomed, probably one of the reasons why Aji started going to the Emerald Cup, where previously before he would never go there, right?
Okay.
But now, let's say he walks towards the Emerald Cup, and one of like the street promoters, like kind of like invites him into an establishment. He wasn't
allowed in.
or that he didn't feel welcome at.
So maybe you're going to the Emerald Cup, which is a significant schlep. It's like basically on the other side of the merchant quarter from where the noble quarter is. It's on the last page of both either of those. So, the Emerald Cup. The Emerald Cup is all the way up here in near the Unicorn Gate or the Two Gates district. This is the gate over here to leave the noble quarter and to get into the merchant quarter. So you have to make that long schlep all the way there. And in the past, you had passed. You'd gone by a lot like some sake houses, and there aren't so much like barkers that are kind of trying to call you in, especially in the downhill, which caters more towards samurai. So it's kind of the classier joints. Instead, what you had maybe often seen was as people who would normally be standing outside who maybe work at the sake house, when you walk by, they suddenly like busy themselves in other places, kind of giving you the cold shoulder. In this instance, they don't. They just kind of like bow and just very much acknowledge you.
Yeah.
And you realize like, oh, something has changed here. Normally these folks kind of give me the brush off.
So, let's say after like the third place, that kind of starts to bother me. That's this normal behavior I've gotten used to is not there anymore. And I'll stop by the third place I pass what's going on.
So you stop by the third place, and an older man, maybe in his late 50s or early 60s, seems to be kind of the patron, or at least the merchant patron of the sake house. And he kind of bows and he says like, "Oh, welcome, Samurai-sama.
Good day to you, sir. Is there some good news? Something happy happened around here?"
He says, "Oh, only that you've joined us, if you're so inclined."
Oh.
And Aji is again probably walking with like on crutches. He's all bandaged up, real messed up. His one hand's probably in a sling, bandaged up and covered in poultices and oops.
I still have 2 crutches. Well, I guess I have a few moments. I could stop for a bit. If it will brighten your day. I'll take a seat.
And he says, "I don't mean to." He's like, "Please, if it's like whatever you'd like, please. We're here merely to serve."
Oh, I'd like some sake, please.
Oh, of course. And soon enough, you can kind of like take a seat at a very low table, and soon enough, somebody comes out and brings you a small bottle of sake, and they pour it for you, and you're kind of like left in peace. It's somewhere in the downhill, like more northern part of the downhill, so it's still nice. There's a lot of samurai there, a few wealthy merchants that are there as well. This place is pretty nice. This is definitely one of the places you kind of vaguely remember being drunk in with Ogai and running up an insane bar tab.
Don't usually firemen go to these kind of places? Or no?
I don't think like this.
Are you asking?
In general.
So, you know that the downhill is within the merchant quarter, the place that much more caters towards samurai. And you guys had met the leader of the firemen, the leader of the little gate firemen, Hiroshi.
Oh, damn it.
Poor boy.
Well, that guy.
Yeah, Hiroshi, who Michitaka killed.
Yeah, character should know that name. So I know I've been the little gate fireman, pretty much their hood, or
Yes.
is the old guy the manager?
Sure. Yeah, he's here, the merchant who kind of runs the place.
Yeah. I'll beckon him over.
Oh, how can I help you? And are you wearing your badge?
Yes.
Oh, how can I help you, Magistrate Sama?
So,
I hope you're enjoying your beverage.
oh, I am quite.
Oh, excellent! What a glorious day.
So, I haven't been keeping up with this part of town. Who leads the little gate firemen these days?
I'm gonna say, oh, that's the little gate firemen are it's like the firemen here are excellent at their jobs, protecting shops and establishments and even homes from any fires. They do quite an excellent job.
Alright. I'm going to attempt to read a person and hope I don't fail.
All right.
That's generally good.
Yeah. That's failure.
Yeah, so you got a 5 plus what?
A 0.
5 plus a 0. All right. Okay.
What's the total then?
Yeah, what's the total? Add that one up for me. Let's crunch those numbers. Send them to the boys in the back.
This guy seems really friendly. Mm-hmm. So that's all I get.
I actually think I'll just power level. I think that's his move. God.
Do I have a plan?
I'm gonna say it's an excellent neighborhood, very safe, very and of course I'm sure that's thanks to our wonderful magistrates.
We'll think that guy.
I think he's on the nose.
I appreciate your compliment. And I kind of bulge out my chest to display my badge more.
Okay.
It pains you to do this.
Yeah, you wince in pain.
I'm just glad he said chest.
Yeah. You give yourself a hernia. Yeah, there's a failure. Oh no.
I can't feel anything below my waist anymore.
Oh, that hurt. And I'm going to gulp down my sake.
All right. So, what's the question you really want to ask this guy?
Well, I want to ask what changed, but that's not the way to phrase that.
So, what is the real question you want to get to? What changed?
Why the change in, demeanor?
Okay. Here's, I think, the hard move. I think you end up getting frustrated with how polite this guy is because you can't figure it out. He's technically playing all of his cards exactly right in regard to, I'm your social inferior. I'm just here to help. I'm just here to serve. I'm such a good servant.
It's like that butler.
It's like that butler who was doing such a good job of thwarting your efforts earlier.
Yeah, this guy.
Damn the courtesy of servants. I think you just end up asking that question. What's changed? Why am I allowed back here? And I think you hear as people hear and heads swivel. And I think that's going to be at least
a face damage.
That's going to be at least a face damage. I'd say there's probably 2, just because it's it kind of brings
2 face damage. Interesting.
Face damage.
2 face damage is my favorite number of face damage. It may or may not force Aji to just completely change his life.
Hold on.
I
kill himself?
I prepared for this.
Okay. Why don't we do it as 1? Because one of the things that we can do is, if we don't do poorly on this, it kicks it up to 2.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
It doesn't matter if it was 2 or whatever, I would think.
Let's do it with the 1.
All right.
So it's the roll plus 1.
Yep.
Oh, because you roll not the face damage,
not the total, but the one you're
not you
taking.
suffer, but
what you're suffering at present.
Yeah.
All right, we got 8 plus 1 is 9.
9.
It's not a 10 at least.
It's not a 10, that's true. So take the 1.
I have a school ability.
Uh-huh.
It says, when you lose face, subtract your bold value from the face damage before you roll face to determine the result.
We rolled 8 minus 2.
Yeah.
6. Okay, that works. All right,
Take some face damage.
so you take that one. All right, I'm glad we got there. You take that one, and yeah, the basically people hear this, and this guy has to say, like, oh, your debts were paid. So your debts were paid, and in fact, you were even given a tab was started for you here.
No, that's bad.
Who? It might have the name of the generous donor.
And he says, a man from the Two Gates neighborhood.
It's like a whole neighborhood, though. What are we supposed to do about that?
Where's the 2 gates?
Is that where the Emerald Cup is?
Yeah, the Emerald Cup. Oh, was it you, Taiyo?
Was it Taiyo?
Yes.
This is me.
Do you know anything more than that, or just the area?
And he says, and I think this is all part of that failure. He's trying not to say it, and that's what gets more people's attention, is this guy's trying to answer broadly or subtly or in a way where like, oh, you can kind of figure this out. And then eventually he just has to say, like, third, Daison, the leader of the Strong Arm Firemen, paid off all your debts.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that looked bad.
Yeah, that's true. So it's like, this gangster paid for all my stuff. By the way, I'm a cop.
Hey, Officer, Tony Soprano took care of this tab for you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not a crime.
Yugare, when we last saw Yugare in the last game, he was on Teardrop Island with Ajo.
Yeah.
And he realized that he could discover how to find this place where the Kansen are likely to be, how to find this place of great darkness. He just had to open himself up to it a little bit. And Yugare made that realization and then decided he couldn't.
Right.
And so Ajo has just gone around, I guess, like, continuing to look for this place.
All right.
I think when Yugare gets back to the residence, say that took like part of like the early morning.
Mm-hmm.
Like you and Ajo were kind of wandering around looking for this place. When you get back, your wife has the servants furiously packing. So Mizuki is like instructing them, like, we've only been here for this many months. Can't believe we've already unpacked all these things. So pack everything back up. It doesn't matter that it goes back in the same case as it was in before.
I guess I'll go to her then. Why are you packing so furiously?
And she says, that man who lives under our roof with our children tried to kill one of them. And you let him walk out the door this morning.
Mostly hobbling.
I can't argue with you about that. I appreciated your company, but I agree this is not a safe city. Fortunately, I was able to stop him and bring him back to his senses, but there is an evil presence that seems capable of entering many people's minds.
I heard what you two were arguing about. Everyone in the household, the children heard, Yugare. It wasn't just last night. That man's been a drug addict and a criminal this entire time. And what he said sounds like you knew about it. Did you know about it?
I did.
And you let us stay under this roof? I hope you treat the family you do love better than this. And I think she says, like, close that up to one of the servants, and they close a, I don't know what, I feel like a basket. I'm not sure 100% what like a suitcase in this world would be. And I think he was like in the middle of something, and there's still a lot of other things, and she just says, leave it.
Yeah. You should convince her to stay.
Well, follow her as she's running around telling servants to do things.
I think at this point she's just fine with whatever they've packed and getting ready to go.
She's just leaving?
I think she's definitely leaving this house for sure.
I mean, I'll walk with her.
So,
in order to like continue the conversation, basically, and just tell her that Aji is a magistrate, and that doesn't mean he can do anything he wants whenever he wants. There are more important matters, and it's not his fallings that made him a threat to us. It's the darkness.
For really timed lightning.
I will not argue with you about leaving the city. It's not a safe place. This house is proven not to be safe, and I'm sorry I didn't identify that earlier. I sent warnings not to come.
I think you guys are outside, and at this point she says, I can see that you told us to stay away because I can see that you clearly did not want us here. You obviously don't care about this family. If you're willing to let it be in this much danger, if you're willing to let that man just wander around and stay under the same roof with our house. Taiyo got his family an entirely new house. Taiyo helped to get our children even a tutor. Meanwhile, I'm here with a man who's a drug addict who tries to murder my children. Yes, I will be leaving. And I think that this argument has become somewhat public. I think this is like a face thing, as this argument has become public.
Okay.
So much face damage going on.
Yeah, it's like
Unless you have a thing that you specifically want to do, that could maybe change this up.
Defy danger.
that will not do it.
I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah, I think this one probably is. Would this one be 1 or 2?
I mean, that's
Depends how many people.
Yeah, depends on who's there.
We did say that people have gotten nervous and more people are inside. So that was one of the kind of things we set with the scene of like the town getting tense.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
So yeah, so let's just do 1 because the odds are it would just be like immediate neighbors hearing this, maybe Thunder Guard, servants hearing it, like a few people on the street hearing
They
it.
don't matter.
It's not like the hustling, bustling street and you guys have a cops episode domestic dispute in the front lawn.
Call the cops. Nobody wants to show up.
So I rolled a 7.
That's not good. It's an 8.
So 8. So do you have any kind of thing that mitigates that?
No.
Okay. So I think she and the servants kind of like, they load up like just like, it's just the kids and this one big cart and her and like not cart, the kids and the one big trunk and maybe like a basket in a rickshaw, and someone kind of like is about to kind of cart them away. Just clearly they wouldn't leave the city with just a guy pulling them in this rickshaw, but they're going to go someplace else to apparently prepare or at least stay, because from everything you've gathered, she's out of here.
I think I will just like go to the kids and tell them, your mother's going to take care of you. I want to find out where they're going. I'm not going to try to sneak around, but I'll leave her some space, and about 15 or 20 feet.
You're kind of continuing on with them, and
Is this like tonight? Or no, it's morning time, right?
I feel like it's the equivalent of almost like 10 or 11 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
I think as you're kind of following along with these two, or not these two, these three in the rickshaw, and they're not going much ahead of you. It's kind of a heavy load for one dude to kind of bear as he's traipsing along. And you notice, at first you're kind of just heading into the old quarter, the more northern quarter of the noble quarter, the northern neighborhood of the noble quarter is what I should say. And you kind of catch from behind you somebody in the crowd that seems a little suspicious. They're not a Thunder Guard, but you think you've seen the person before in passing.
They are a demon.
They look a lot more... You thought for a second when you saw this that this person was a little bit more, but kind of perhaps armed than the average samurai, kind of walking the streets. But you're not positive of that one. When you look back, it's like, oh, not sure. And if you're just on foot and you're not making a big scene of like walking directly next to this cart or running along with it, you'll have to kind of keep following it along.
Yeah. I think I want to like take a good memory of that person, like pay attention for a second.
Sounds like you're in a situation.
Okay.
Not a bad roll. You got an 8 plus
1 for a total of 9.
Total of 9.
I guess which enemy is the biggest threat?
Ooh. Well, you're afraid of your sister-in-law, And your sister-in-law is growing, from what you thought before, growing influence over your wife.
Mm-hmm.
And now your wife is leaving and pissed with you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think from what we kind of established about your family dynamic, your sister-in-law seems like a pretty significant threat to your family at the moment, because this seems like kind of a win for her.
That's true. So in that case, I better just keep following them and not pay too much attention to this guy from the crowd.
Okay. In fact, you don't see that person at all anymore. And eventually she heads to just a house in the old section of town, in the old section of the noble quarter, the old neighborhood.
Is it like a...
It's a pretty nice, traditional house. Not as big as Bayushi Korichika's by far, but like a pretty nice mansion. And it's located pretty close to the palace.
Okay. I wanted to just like hang out here for a while outside and make sure it stayed.
Well, this place seems pretty safe. There's at least several Thunder Guard kind of stationed outside. There's probably like 4 kind of stationed right at the main entrance. And when she and her rickshaw pull up, some servants come out and speak to her. And some servants come out after just a couple minutes and kind of usher them in and then haul this trunk inside.
Do we know what family the sister used to be part of?
Scorpion.
And you remember, you've been to this house. We do. And Yugare remembers he's been to this house before.
What?
That this is the house of Shosuro Gobai, the brother-in-law of the governor.
Oh, yeah. The boar guy, right?
Yes. And you remember, he was at your brother's wedding. I have a question about Taiyo.
Okay.
How religious is Taiyo?
I would say somewhere in the middle of the road, I think. I don't think Tayo's an atheist or anything. Maybe like a holiday Catholic kind of thing.
Okay. Do you think that has changed at all in the recent couple months? As Tayo's gotten an interest in blessings and protections and magic and that kind of thing?
Oh, that's a really good point. Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Probably after that finger jar.
Okay. All right. Before you had expressed an interest in going to the Sun Temple.
Yeah, maybe.
Do you think Taiyo would visit the Sun Temple, or maybe the family would take a trip there?
Yeah, that makes sense. Is that that's like a thing you would do, right?
It's it's a possibility. I mean, because, Rokugani religion is a combination of, like, the worship of the fortunes, the worship of the kami, like the spirits, the worship of ancestors. So it's like a bunch of different kind of religions smushed into... Everybody does all of this, or parts of it if they want.
Right.
But I feel like if anybody was going to just be like, I go to church on Easter, the Sun Temple might be it, and then they might go to their ancestors' shrines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and probably after that, the supernatural thing that happened. Yeah, we should start looking into some of these alternatives.
Okay. So, again, the Sun Temple is made of this glistening white limestone. Almost imagine kind of like nearly pure white marble. Mm-hmm. And it's the only examples of this in the city. So it was mined or quarried from this quarry just outside of Ryoko Owari hundreds of years ago. Mm-hmm. And this is the only thing built out of that. They started the quarry, they started finding this stone, they got it, and then when they had enough to build this temple, it was like, and then there was no more.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of the story of almost the miraculous thing of they found exactly as much as they needed to build this temple, and then there was literally no more of it to be found. Mm-hmm. There's that 70-foot pole, on top of which is that like golden sun sphere that kind of glistens in the day. And since you're here at maybe 10 in the morning or so, that thing is kind of... You've got the sun itself, and then it is kind of this additional thing that's glistening.
I assume the sun kind of opposes the moon?
Yeah, in the Rokugani, like, mythical story.
They're like brother and sister or something?
Kind of, and they're like the mother and father of the kami. And it's almost like, who was it, like Kronos, that ate his children? It's that kind of deal. Like the sun and the moon had these children. The moon got jealous or mad and then ate all of them except she hid one, which was Hanti, the the one who becomes the emperor, who fought his father, the moon, and sliced open his belly, so all of the children fell out and fell to earth. That kind of thing.
Gotcha.
That story.
That makes sense. Maybe this has even been like since that Taiyo has been going here, and then maybe either dragging his family, or maybe this is the first time he was able to convince them to come.
Okay. And so you can see there's almost like the equivalent of a service. It's more, people come and they bring these little offerings. They kind of get together, and maybe there's this like chanted prayer that's led by some of the nuns that are there. And there's maybe kind of general group blessing. If you've ever seen like large scale Catholic baptisms where people are sprinkled with water, and like possibly an enormous crowd. There's dozens and dozens of people here when this service goes on, and I think a bunch of the nuns do this, and High Priestess Mayo comes out, and she's definitely an older woman who I think in this would be played by Tilda Swinton, but with some oldening makeup, or again, if this is just her voice, I think that nails it, that's fine. And she kind of comes out and gives this blessing about, and a lot of it's just super traditional blessings and chants, but they bring up that the sun's tears raining down on the earth are what help to bring life to this world, that her rays shine down and give us light to see all of the creation around us, that the warmth prevents us from freezing in the long dead of night, and that without her, not only the crops that feed our bellies, but the light that lets us feed our souls would not be there. And so it's not a super long thing. There's a lot of ritual to it that for the most part the other nuns run through. Most of this is run by women, especially a lot of older women, but there are some younger like initiates there. There's probably like a series of bells that are rung, and then afterwards people can come up and kind of leave another offering, and some of the nuns will like say a prayer for people. And
it would be an offering, just like food and stuff.
It could also just be money. So you could come and bring an offering as in cash. Like it could either be an offering for the temple itself, or it could be like kind of a sacrificial-esque offering that you leave at a shrine,
or new clothes for the priestesses.
I go there often, but I bring a prescription.
I went to a temple once, and literally that's what people were offering, was new tunics for the monks.
There you go.
And they burn them.
And like canned food
sacrificially.
And money.
That makes sense. Yeah, just kidding.
I wasn't there for the sacrifice.
But yeah, so I assume Taiyo probably goes through, there's like a line of people that are kind of like praying, and you've dragged the whole family here. Okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe the wife, whose name is Yugare, is like super not into religion at all.
Okay.
So maybe it's like, gotta come at least once. Come on. You didn't see the fingers. Just trust me. Yeah.
Yeah, Yugare is kind of fine with the rest of the service, but then wants to kind of hurry the process along and bring the children bring the children back home, like sooner rather than later. And so if you're going to kind of stand in this line as these people kind of like provide their offerings and then receive some kind of blessing, she's kind of more interested in heading out.
Yeah, I think just Taiyo ignores that. Just like, no, this is part of it. I assume Taiyo's just been giving like little bits of money or something. And do you give them in like the name of like a god or a person or what?
I mean, this is specifically the Temple of the Sun. So, like, any offerings would be, like, to the Temple of the Sun. And, like, if you're giving, like, so it's clear any offerings, if you're giving it to this temple and the monks or the priestesses of this temple.
So I might just give, like, whatever, like, probably, like, more than the general person would, but not, like, an entire wealth or something. But, it might have, I'll say that it's probably, after going for a bit, it probably equaled about a wealth. Right?
Okay, sure.
Since this is, how many sessions ago did that finger thing happen?
Several. Yeah.
It's been a good bit. Let's be honest.
This is like the last 20th of one wealth that I'm putting down. And then I think Taiyo's always saying, like, please look after my family. Giving the whatever money. It's a little coin.
And so I think on this occasion it's just taking a particularly long time. Like either the process is taking a long while, or there's just a lot of people here today, and it's going very, very slowly. And yeah, Hikari is just not. She's just saying, like, why don't we just take the kids back and we can come back the equivalent of next week, or you could even come by later in the day if you need to leave an offering.
The countryman, see what we got.
No, I don't have to work until later. I think it's important to make sure that they know that we're here.
Yeah, I think that I've got two options here, moves-wise. I could try to say you need to make Hikari stay with some kind of like manipulate roll. But that's one thing. Another option would be to have you defy the danger of once again not being noticed.
Oh, by the priest.
To get to speak to somebody. Yeah, because for the most part this has gone that, like, you know, the bishop doesn't come out to talk to you about whatever's going on. Instead, it's like you go to confession and Father O'Donoghue is like, oh, thank you, son. And then say 5 Hail Marys and goodbye. And, like, that's all you kind of you kind of get through that. And, you don't talk to the person in charge.
I'll go with that one, because that's the ultimate goal is to...
I kind of figured, because I was like, hey, have you do this thing with Hikari, but then that's just puts us back to... You succeeded in convincing your wife, and somehow this other person then is like, I'll talk to you.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
All right.
I'll try that.
So go ahead and defy the danger of once again not being noticed. All right, we got it already pretty good. 9. Okay. Ooh. So I think I'm going to give you a nasty choice here. It takes a while. All right? And it's particularly cold. And in part of the area where you are, it is not... there's like an awning, so if snow was falling on you, it wouldn't be an issue. If rain was falling on you, it wouldn't be an issue. But it doesn't block the cold. And so it's just straight up cold. And maybe your kids are kind of complaining about the situation, and Hikari has to kind of huddle them close to the two of you to kind of keep them warm and keep them also like still and quiet. And you run into the situation where she would like to take them home. And the ugly choice you have, or the choice between the two things, is either you can go and speak to someone, sans Hikari and the kids. So you just go talk to the priestess, is who you're going to get to talk to. Or Hikari and the kids come and are privy to the entire conversation, and you can't hide anything from them. Like, it's going to be a situation where they're going to hear everything.
Yeah, I want to say I made it a point before to say that I was not bringing all the details in for Hikari.
Yeah, because you were trying to not to scare the hell out of her.
Yeah.
Let alone the children as well.
Yeah.
Your kids are way younger than his, though, so they're 3, so it'll just be like an internal scarring that comes up later on. And they're like eating their own like fingernails in quantities.
No, I think Taiyo's gonna keep that preservation thing going. So, maybe to make it more nasty. Taiyo's just like, well, fine. If you have to leave, then leave. Ooh. This is important to me.
Yeah, and I think she'll kind of say, well, children, I guess we're going. I guess we can just leave your father here out in the cold. Hikari kind of scoops up these kids with maybe Ribbon is there to help her.
Oh, yeah.
And kind of scurry off with the children. They're her handmaiden, servant. Yeah. So, so I think just more time kind of elapses and goes by. You're there for a while, and eventually you kind of give your offering, and rather than say like kind of a blessing over you, the priest or the priestess that sees you is like, oh, my son, why don't you come this way? I'll get you out of the cold to talk. And this isn't the high priestess, but she is like kind of beckoning you to like head to another room.
I'll just politely bow and follow her.
Okay. And she kind of sends you down into this little garden. It's a small like Zen style garden where it's got kind of the rocks and the sand that's been kind of raked in a particular way, but it's also snowing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think at the moment, you can't see any of that. You just see these rocks, and then like a layer of snow on top of them, and snow down on the bottom, and you see some of the plants the plants aren't dead, but they lose their leaves in the winter, whatever, I forget what kind of tree that is. We're in Florida. Deciduous?
Yeah, I was like, I think that's it.
Coniferous? But yeah, so, and you see this woman kind of standing in the snow in the midst of this garden. And she's an older woman, but she's standing up kind of very properly. And she's standing kind of in the middle of this snowy garden.
Mm-hmm.
And she's standing up very properly. And she turns, and the face that she had, her face is very old. You can tell that she's definitely an old lady. But her eyes are very, very bright. Not like Fremen weird bright, but like her eyes look very, very young. And she says, "Oh, welcome, child. I knew it was only a matter of time before I saw you."
That's the same thing with me. Oracle?
It's just a recording.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Hello, child.
I think especially because Taiyo's new to this being religious thing, it's just like trying to it's like maybe too long of
Okay.
and then like I was hoping to one day meet you.
And the funny thing is, the Scorpion are known as like the least religious clan.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And she says, "Will you like, please join me?" And she's just kind of like gazing at the garden.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And so
I'll do a join gaze.
Sure.
Gaze join.
Taiyo kind of like crunches across some of the snow through this garden to kind of come join her. And it's pretty thick in this area. It doesn't seem like it has been like cleared out.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like as it's fallen, it's built up to like several inches thick. As you kind of walk into like the bottom of your socks and like your sandals get like a little wet, and you're like, "Damn it, it's cold out here." Mm-hmm. She says, "You've changed your mind. You've changed your mind on coming here only just recently."
What do you mean?
She says, "Why? We hadn't seen you here at this temple prior to but a few weeks ago."
I guess I'll out loud say what's happening internally and say, yes, I wasn't overly religious back home, but since I've been working here, I've seen things that it's made me more faithful. If that's the term they would use.
Sure. Often in a dark place, a speck of light can be seen most clearly.
If that's the case, I have the city to thank for one thing at least.
But you've come here seeking something. I hope it's the light that you can see.
Yeah, and we're just like still standing looking at this.
Yeah, she's just kind of like looking around. I feel like not even looking at you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, and in the show version of this, Taiyo, I feel it's just like awkward. What do I do with? So this is weird. Like moving his hands.
Yeah, there kind of isn't anything to do in this space.
Yeah.
I feel it's almost the equivalent of an actor on stage that realizes, what do I do with my arms?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so Taiyo's like, well, I do hope to find some light. Just seeing some darkness recently that I can't explain except for through the stories that I had heard growing up that I had begun to question, but now at least the darkness is unquestionable. Especially now with a family, I'm worried, especially worried for their safety in this. Just after witnessing this darkness personally.
This city is like the night sky. There is great darkness all around. It is filled with countless points of light in the hearts of each person that would do something not only to help their fellow man, but do something to make this city a better place for those around them. You've come here for something, Bayushi. You've come here for something, child. Mm-hmm. I don't think she calls you Bayushi Taiyo. I think she calls you child. And says, Why have you not asked those closer to you?
I've asked everyone with wisdom on this. I don't know, and some of them have helped me, I think, as much as they can, but I still don't feel safe.
Just say you, and it's understandable that you don't. She says, "You have delved deep into the darkness of this place. You should not feel safe." She says, "If anything, you have brought graver danger not only to yourself, but to your family. You've flirted with it. You've fed it. At times it seems you've let it run free. But if what it takes to defeat that darkness is diving deeper into it to get to its heart, then perhaps what you're doing won't be for nothing. But what are you willing to sacrifice to make sure of that?"
Yeah, I think that definitely throws Taiyo for a loop, or considers it for a minute, and it's just, well, I think, like most people, hopefully, I would sacrifice anything for the duty that the Emperor gave me, and also for my family especially.
You want your family to be safe from this darkness, but you have lived a life of darkness, or at least a life in shadows. You want your family to be safe, and yet your actions have made so many other families have to worry about the darkness overcoming their own family members. You can keep your family safe, but
I feel the audience is definitely, like, Taiyo's not liking that.
Mm-hmm.
I guess Taiyo wears a mask, but just like, if you could see his face, he'd be grimacing right now, like, what are you getting at?
You can keep your family safe, but if you want to continue living in shadows, you'll have to choose from what to keep them safe.
I'm not sure what that means. We all have our secrets, but I'm not living in shadow.
Would you want to read her?
Yeah, sure.
Go for it.
She missed 50% of the
Roll a 12.
Yes. Oh my god, roll a 20. That's gonna be not no for me though.
8 plus 8 plus 3 is 11, right?
Yeah.
Usual.
Yeah. So close. Who's up? Black Nobles? You plus 1 on a roll?
We haven't seen a 12 in a while. I need some answers.
You can definitely get some answers.
What's your character intend to do? Oh wait, what's the character wish I do? I guess it's more responsive to what you just said.
She's merely kind of trying to put some truths in front of you that if Taiyo is going to continue living the life, I'm just going to be more blatant than this, all right?
Please.
Just to throw things out.
Please.
Love it. More blatantness.
If Suki is going to continue to live as Taiyo and benefit from all of these connections, Suki is going to have to determine what she wants to keep her family safe from. Because you can continue to live in this way and possibly benefit from these kind of shadowy dealings, and try to keep your family safe from the supernatural. But these shadowy dealings seem like then they threaten your family.
Pertaining to her brother?
So if you're going to continue to kind of keep living as Taiyo and trying to benefit from all these shadowy dealings, you're going to have if you want to keep yourself safe from the kind of political machinations, then the darkness that is out there, that is the supernatural darkness, has much more of a chance of getting to you or your family. If you want to keep yourself safe from that darkness, these political machinations are going to have much more of a chance of hurting you or your family. So, you're going to basically have to pick what you're looking to open yourself up to in regard to danger. And the way that she says this, you get the feeling that she definitely knows that you are Bayushi Suki, and that you are masquerading as your dead brother. Like, she knows what's up.
It's the clarity granted by freezing cold.
Ooh.
Good.
And just for the shit of it, I think you wonder to yourself, like, she makes that point very, very clear, and you wonder how can she know that? And you look down, and you realize there are no footprints to where she has gone to stand in the snow.
What's the character intend to do?
What does she intend to do? Actually, I think that... Did you ask her that? Okay, let's say you didn't. So what does she intend to do? She can help you, but you'll have to make one of these choices.
That's tricky. That's a tricky... Yeah, I feel Taiyo's a terrible hubris. Thinks that the political problems are more...
They can be better
understands
handled.
them better. Well, I my entire life, growing up in Bayushi, Kuden or whatever it's called.
Kuden Bayushi, you got it.
Ah, so just political dangers are just like second nature to me. But these supernatural things, I have no idea how to deal with. That's where I need help. That's where I'm blind to.
Then she'll just kind of nod to that.
And I guess my follow-up question would be, how could I get your character to protect me from those?
Oh, so she says like if you seek a blessing to help you if you seek a blessing to keep your family safe, I can help you. But the warmth of the sun is carried through its light. Or the warmth of the sun is carried through her light. And she'll say, to make sure that they're kept safe, you'll have to reveal your secrets. You're harboring a darkness in you and dwelling in a darkness. If there's anything that would attract dark spirits, it's just that. So shed yourself of those shadows, shed yourself of that darkness, and her light will help to protect your family. And the two of you kind of like walk away and kind of part, and just further so the audience can extra see that like, oh yeah, this lady also walked away from this thing and there are still just your footprints. Like none of her footprints are there. At this point, Hida Ishi.
Probably about time.
Yeah.
Yep, it's probably about time for me to visit Taiyo. So where would you be? Because I would probably send a servant to ask you to come to the
Magistrate hall? The civil hall?
There you go.
Oh, I'm in a snow pit.
Mm-hmm. I don't have footprints.
So did you want to meet there, or would you not?
Sure.
All right.
Yeah, the last time we talked was
in the civil hall as well.
Yeah, that was with talking about the governor, and then yeah.
So yeah, I'm just sitting down when you come in, and I don't know how to get to this easy and simply, so I'll just cut straight to the chase.
You guys are in your Ishi and Taiyo are both in the little courtroom that you guys have. That's also an office.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. To be honest, I'm not sure how to bring this up other than to just say it. I feel as if you have almost betrayed me and the other magistrates. You've been holding the secrets of your family and of the cartel that we've been investigating for months, and I want to know why. I want you to tell me to my face why you would do this before I go to, let's forget his name.
Okay. Champion?
Yeah.
Asako Honjo?
There you go. You are consorting with Yogo Sako, and she is tied directly to Hyobu. You've been going to your cousin's house Bayushi Kurchika's house far more than is required as a family member, and not to mention every time you go there are many whisperings that you are involved with them in this business that is an affront to the city.
Consorting is a strange investigation.
The fact that I had to conduct an investigation in order to find out your dealing is troubling, to say the least.
For investigating me?
Yes, after your... It is not the first time I have seen you been pulled aside by Yogo Sako and whispered to, where she would not want to talk to the rest of us, and it has been many, many months that I've known of her involvement with Hyobu.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. You got it.
Better than mine. It's just Sarah Hyobu. You left me no choice.
I think that's the reason why I think you've just discovered the reason why I'm valuable to this team, because the Scorpion trusts me more than the other magistrates that aren't part of the clan.
But I'm not sure that the magistrates that I can trust you.
Why is that, Ishi? Why, even though I've trusted you from day one, do you keep questioning my loyalty?
I mean, you're not who you say you are, for one. You're not Bayushi Taiyo, you're Bayushi Suki, buried in some small funeral, and here you are today. There are too many things that don't add up about you. And with your dealings in this town, from day one, it has been difficult to trust you, and you've not not let yourself be trusted either.
Aside from whatever whispers or things you've heard, have I done anything that would make you question my loyalty?
I wouldn't go as far to say that you've derelicted your true duty in favor of your family, but others would, and that is not a good face for magistrates to put forward. Our primary loyalty is to that of the Emperor.
Well,
everything second.
I didn't ask what other people thought. It's also part of my clan's our fun gift to do things that people wouldn't understand, but that our true friends wouldn't question. But nothing I've done hasn't been in service of the Emperor or in service of my duties here.
Nothing you've done?
No.
Despite the fact that you have withheld information from the rest of the magistrates for, I'm not even entirely sure how long. If you are truly investigating Yugo-saku, Governor Hyogo, and even your family, if that's why, if that is the reason for your dealings with them, as you've said, why has no information come to light? I know you're not bad at your job. I know that you're an excellent investigator, but something's stopping you.
Well, just like the discussion we had yesterday, I guess.
Probably.
Yeah, it probably was.
Yeah. When given, some information is too dangerous, especially when it's still in question. I'm not positive about all the accusations, or I don't have strong backing to all the accusations I've been able to collect, but I've been going out of my way to collect them. And just like what you were saying, your information too isn't enough for us to take down the governor or whoever else is truly corrupt in the city.
And that's why I share it with you, so that we can collaborate and so we can build enough evidence. One man is not enough to take this city. We all know this to be true.
I know, and before, just like I advised you, before I would act, I would share it with everybody. But half-truths and just rumors, I guess, weren't enough. I had to find something, I was hoping to find something that would tie everything together. But it's so far eluded me.
I'm going to read.
Alright, Ishi is reading Taiyo. Got a 7 plus, you have plus 2 plus 3.
It's only plus 2.
That's 9.
You get an experience point to target.
It's true.
Oh, I do. It is true. That is actually enough experience to pop me up. So I could raise that to plus 3? Question mark?
We've made the precedent that you can do that generally in most of these games.
Yeah.
So then that would become a
10?
Yeah.
Is it worth it?
Is it worth it?
I mean, yeah, probably. The other thing I was going to do is make it so that I'm really great at combat, but when does that shit ever come up? Alright.
The ninjas first in.
Only the finale.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. They're riding horse
I should
demons.
have changed my plans. Where is it? Here it is. Is your character telling the truth? Sure. So this was truly your goal to gather evidence. Are you telling the truth?
I think it is. I think it's ultimately to do that. Let me see if that's. I'm trying to think back. No. Who approached me first?
Ayushi Kurachika first approached Taiyo about getting more involved in all of this. Mm-hmm. And then eventually you were brought in with all 3 of the cartels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Oh, I think I'll give you that is Taiyo's ultimate goal. Right?
It's your ultimate goal?
You know, I feel like that's it's not entirely true. I'm trying to think how I can answer that better.
I'm trying to play both sides
well, yeah,
to be profitable and successful.
With just the easy answer. Oh, you mean like in character answer it?
Or player wise.
I mean, just
I don't really think
saying that's not my only goal.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So that's not your only goal. Okay.
I mean, should I say what the other goal is? Or do you think that's more outside the realm of that move?
I mean, just in character, you could say the other goals.
But is he compelled to?
Yeah. Well, what was the actual question? Or the in-character question?
Jeez, that was like a whole monologue, dog.
30 minutes.
Is your goal really to gather this evidence?
Yeah, that was this, but what led him to actually say, yeah, that's my only goal? It was, like, something about, like, why aren't you sharing the information, and, like, why else would you be doing all these things, and then not talking to us?
Oh,
something about that.
I have a way to in-character answer that, maybe.
Okay.
So Ty will say, like, everything I've done has been in service of the Emperor, and we've known each other for months now, and you know that I wouldn't do anything to jeopardize my family. Everything is in service to the Emperor and to keep my family safe. So maybe subtly you can figure out, safe and comfortable, because he bought that house and everything.
Well, it was given to you, yeah.
Yeah. Well, to you,
To me, you bought it, yeah.
And there's those times where I'm like, oh, I'll buy this entire army for your thing. Don't worry about it. Or Korachika is going to help me buy it, I guess.
Yeah, shit like that, yeah.
And that super rich or fancy party I just had.
Yeah. That was a little extra.
So I think that's a fairer way to answer that.
Okay. We'll go from there.
But I'm still sticking with, am I telling the truth? Yes.
Sure. Pretty much. I still can't come to terms with the fact that you have been lying to me and the other magistrates. And in confronting you, the only thing I have heard are excuses, not results for this investigation of yours.
Well, I would disagree. I wasn't lying to anybody. I wasn't sharing everything about my investigations, but I also don't have to, because the Emperor's assistant, or the champion's assistant, put me in charge of the magistrate.
You did tell me not to tell anybody, didn't you? Let me just find that note that said, don't tell anybody about this shit, dog. Pretty sure there's a note here that says, yeah, keep this a secret, okay, yeah. I see that note.
Yeah. I think the meaning was more about keep the investigations of them a secret, more so than the change up of the position.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of games that man was playing. I was just gonna roll with it, alright? That is succinctly, that is no longer the case now. You've been removed as the speaker of this group of magistrates. I don't know, the
Captain?
Yeah, I've said point person.
Yeah, there's not really a good word for it, but
there is in Japanese.
Oh, son of a bitch. Asako Anjo personally asked me to be the person that reports all things to him instead of you from this point forward, because he's unconvinced of your words for it. No, you're not doing a great job, but he doesn't really think you're that into it. Words for that, but you know.
More eloquently.
Yeah. You know what I'm going for. Yeah.
This seemed like...
Ooh, sounds like you're reading them. Yeah. What are we at? 3 plus 1 is 4 plus 3, though. So I guess 7. So is that your question? Does it seem like he's telling the truth?
I mean, I feel I'm more interested in what does your character intend to do?
There we go.
God. The words, it depends on what happens during this meeting, is really not that great, so I'll give you more than that. Based on, how much you cooperate and how much you put information forth about your investigation, sorry for finger quoting that, I'm just saying that, either I will, support you in it, or I will write a letter to Asako Anjo telling him.
Oh, based on how much information given you now?
Yeah, based on whether by the end of the conversation I trust Taiyo on this or not.
Okay, so maybe there's the samurai thing, the light on their line, the horizontal light on their eyes. After you say that last thing you said, what did you say? The captain?
Yeah, man, we need a real word for it.
Point person. Yeah. The lead magistrate.
So maybe Taiyo will just do that. All right, well I'll write up a report for the lead then, I suppose.
Thank you. But we do still have to... I'm not going to tell anybody about true identity. I think that you and I can. I assume that you had your reasons for it, but you must know that it is a heinous crime.
Keeping each other's secrets works out for me so far.
It is a heinous crime. This thing that you've done.
Okay. I think Tayo's just so mad right now. Like, sure.
Thanks, Dad.
Wait, what did you accuse him of doing?
Killing his brother and replacing him, and then also
Failing in his duties as a magistrate.
Killing his brother, withholding information from us, and then working with the cartels. I don't trust you. I'm gonna keep my eye on you as the kind of the vibe you're getting, and other than that, I'll be like,
well, I told you that almost the first week I was here.
Kinda. We just like looked at each other, and I was like, "You're not who you say you are," and you were like, "Yeah, well, he was a bad person." And I took that at that.
And he was. I would do it again if it would protect Yugare one more day.
Which is why I'm fine with it, and I will continue to keep this secret. That's why withholding extenuating circumstances, I wouldn't pass this on. But something needs to change in how this group of magistrates is working, because we're not making any progress, and people are starting to ask questions that reflect badly on us as a whole.
And me as the captain.
Not saying that, just saying it's bad times ahead.
Now hand over your captain hat.
This is your Tennille hat, damn it.
Also, I can't wear it because it has jade in it. God damn it. Other than that,
We don't need to talk about that.
that's all. I'm telling them about shit.
Did you have more questions?
No, other than that,
Move thing?
oh yeah, I have a whole bunch. What do you intend to do?
Ask one or two.
I have 3 to ask. I've asked 1. So what do you intend to do?
Maybe based on the shift in mood, it seems like Tayo's really upset about losing that lead position.
Interesting to say I'm such a mess, but okay.
Might try to get that back, or might be hoping to get.
Alright.
You know she's capable of murder.
I do. She has murdered before. Probably could live again. I feel like what do you wish I would do? I do is just not a great question. I'm not going to ask it anyway. What do you wish I would do? Other than like shut up and leave everything alone.
Oh, you know what? I feel maybe there's some kind of. You can only see Tayo's eyes really because of the mask, but maybe there's some kind of like break in her facade or something, or his facade, and you can see that Tayo's actually really offended that you're like, no, I don't trust you. You're terrible. So I think I wish you would actually trust Taiyo. I think even from the beginning, that dinner meeting, here's who I actually am.
Mm-hmm.
These are like best to Tayo's perspective, best buds. That's such a falling out right now.
I see.
And now I'm going to look at and observe a character and learn your weaknesses.
Ooh.
That's a big one.
People.
Alright.
Also, I
Go for it. So you gotta make a roll, right? Is it a sagacious roll, or is this just happens?
Sagacious.
Okay.
roll.
I thought so. Alright, let's see the deal here.
Although if I miss it,
We got a 3 plus 8,
you're
6.
So
12 plus?
12
plus.
What does that do?
What does that do indeed?
12 exactly. Nothing interesting on 12. Why did I get that in the last round? I guess just get to choose 2. So, let's see. Well, I learn a weakness, and then the idea is I can either blackmail you for a favor, blackmail you for wealth, just gain a blackmail, or reveal your secrets, causing you to lose a face. Well, I guess I get to pick it, but I would. But what weakness do you think shows through? I only know of one particular weakness, but there might be more.
I think, okay, so there's retconning a bit, but I think there is some symbol of who is the lead magistrate. There's some, like, little pin or something that you have, and it is made of jade.
Oh, yeah, maybe I hand it over.
And you go to hand it over to me, and, like, I reach out for it, and just as I'm about to touch it, I'm like, and I just, like, ask you to just, like, leave it on the desk, and you're like, this man, something's wrong.
Oh, okay, perfect.
And you think of Ray, or whatever his name is.
Oh, yeah, maybe I also, like, I observe you for a second and notice you're not wearing your badge or something, too. And connecting the dots, like, you haven't worn your badge for a bit. And then, so mechanically then, even revealing your secret by saying, like, oh, well, I hope, just to you, I guess, but, oh, well, I hope that the Emerald Champion won't mind someone tainted taking them, and I'll just leave.
City of Lies is Tone as Kakita Aji, Brandon as Hida Ishi, David as Bayushi Taiyo, Andrew as Agasha Yugare, and Austin as your Game Master. The theme music for City of Lies is Mission of Danger by Lobo Loco.
This American Dice Ryoko Owari City of Lies uses the City of Lies box set by Greg Stolz, published by Alderac Entertainment Group. The mechanics used is a modified PBTA system by Brendan Taylor of Galileo Games. Join us next time for more This American Dice. Hey everybody, if you could please rate, review, and subscribe to our show on your favorite podcatcher, it would really help This American Dice. And for every 5-star review we receive, we'll read it on air. Join us next week for another episode of This American Dice.